Hi, everybody. Welcome to Piercing the Veil.
It's Sasquatch Sunday.
Sasquatch Sunday. Oh, my.
Yeah, it's Sasquatch Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah. Is everybody ready to get squatchy?
Squatchy.
Squatchy.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun show. We have a special guest, Bryan Sawyer, and he's from Bigfoot of America. You guys may have seen him on other shows, and he has a YouTube channel. I put everything in the description for this episode, so be sure and check that out and go show them some love and watch some of their videos. They're really great. So this is going to be fun.
Yes, it is. It's going to be good. So before we get too wild and crazy, we'll say hi to Gary. We've got Gemini, Amber, Moon at Noon, Robin M, Jonacide, Amber. I think I went through everybody already. All right, I think that's it. If I missed you, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we got quite a few popping in. Very good. All right, so let's go ahead and bring Bryan up, and we'll get going.
Hi, Blazer.
Blazer,
Sandy. All right.
Done saying hellos?
Yep.
All right. So welcome in, everybody, and we'll go ahead and bring Bryan up, and we'll get started.
Hey, welcome, Bryan.
Hey, hello. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
Definitely. Just got back from the Appalachian Mountains down there with the Shawnee tribe, southeastern Ohio, northwestern West Virginia area, and kind of visiting where they've had all their encounters with the Sasquatch clan down there. Came back, headed to a place of a recent sighting out by me and here in the thumb of Michigan, a little place I called the Garden of Eden. And there's a whole clan that's back this year in that particular location. So been very busy. We're doing the TV pilot series and the podcast show as well. So I'm going nonstop. I'm out in the woods at least once a week right now.
Wow.
Tons of fun.
I bet. Sounds interesting. So why don't you tell everybody, I know you just mentioned your podcast and your shows coming up, but how did you get started, or what brought you to this field?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm an auto worker here in, Michigan. Grew up in the suburbs of Detroit. And just like everybody else, I had the ghost encounters here and there, some weird, crazy encounters. Then I got involved I found out I had a talent for music, and I got involved in the music industry here in the Detroit area. Like Aretha Franklin's engineer was my engineer. I was studying under a guy by the name of Jim Lamonte, who taught the Romantics. Just a lot of Motown scene here.
Right.
So I was doing a demo and all that, flying soap opera stars in from New York. Was writing a song for Bobby Brown, and Billy Ray Cyrus had come out with "Achy Breaky Heart," so I was having a follow-up song for him, and I had an experience that kind of changed my life. I was thinking about, I'd come home and I'm thinking about everything that's going on. I was getting ready to sign the record deal. I was going to be the first artist off of a new record label parented by RCA. And I kind of come home and it's, the wheels are turning, and I lay down on the couch, and I'm not quite asleep yet. And I'm not quite awake, but I'm in that space between where you start drifting off, and something takes over.
Oh.
I'm suddenly in what I would call a vision. And the folks at home, you have got to make a choice whether you're going to believe what I'm about to say or you're going to deny it. Now, with that said, that sounds harsh, but everybody has a free will. You can make up your mind as to whether or not what I'm about to say is true or not. And then you can either throw it out the window, or you can take it and think about it and tell others about it. So I'm laying on the couch and I've got my hands over my chest like this, and I'm thinking, and I go into that in between awake and dream state. And suddenly I'm looking at the ceiling, but yet my spirit, is the best way I can describe it, turns to my right.
Hmm.
So at this moment, I'm still looking at the ceiling, but I'm also looking into the middle of my living room because I'm in the living room laying on the couch. And suddenly, what I would call a portal door opens up.
Oh,
And if I remember correctly, it even slides open.
Hmm.
wow.
And there's flames kind of coming out. And in comes this, I don't even want to call him a creature, though he is, a being, a high level being is how I would describe him. And the flames were on his body. And I'm doing this because this is how he was moving. Very
Wow.
fluidly, not like a human, but it's scary. And his face was kind of blurred. And he walks up to me. At that moment, he's in total control of the situation, of the scene that's unfolding. And he walks over, and I say he because that's the feeling I got. It was a he. And he placed an envelope on my hands.
Hmm.
Oh,
And as
Hmm.
soon as he does that, he then leans over and he kisses me on the forehead right there.
Oh my.
And whenever I put my finger there, I can still feel that spot to this day. I'm
wow.
57 years old now. I was 21 then. Okay.
Oh wow.
Just as he kisses me on my forehead, so he's able to transcend from whatever dimension he came from wherever he came from, and I'm able to see and feel him kissing me right here, biologically, physically, right there.
Hmm.
When he does that, suddenly a brighter than bright white appears above me. So now I'm kind of beholding and taking in all the information at the same time from two different entities.
Hmm.
And after this thing kisses me on the forehead, it's suddenly shot. 1 second, it's in total control of the scene that's unfolding, and the next minute it turns and looks up at the quote unquote cliche bright light, and total fear encapsulates this being. And
Oh.
he runs out as fast as he can back into the portal door, and the door slides shut behind him.
Oh my gosh.
I'm watching all this happen. I go down, I open the envelope, I pull it out, and it's the record deal, which I'm supposedly supposed to sign anyways in a couple of weeks. It's the record deal, and I'm like, oh, it's the record deal. That's what I'm supposed to do. And then all of a sudden, whether it was the Spirit of God in me or whatever you want to call it, I believe it's the Spirit of the Holy Spirit, I realized that this is the cliche deal with the devil.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you've heard the stories about Bob Dylan and other people who say they've signed the deal with the devil.
Yep.
This is not a dream. This is not a pipe dream. I'm actually involved in the music industry here in Detroit and people in New York, and it's starting to get serious. I'm writing a song for Bobby Brown, for Billy Ray Cyrus, going to be the first artist off of a new record company. And so this is real. This is
Hmm.
taking that next step. And then I realize, hey, this is a cliche deal with the devil. And I come out of the vision. I kind of snap out of it. And I hit the deck in my living room and I say, God, I've been a Christian my whole life. God, no matter what I think I know, if this record deal, everything that's going on in New York is not from you, take it away. As soon as I pray that, the bright light leaves the room. Within 2 weeks, my production company, I'll even say their names, Terry Downs and George Clemens. Back then, it was Touchdown Productions. Um, Phil Collins' producer, Tom Washington, had hooked me up with them. Tom did songs for Phil Collins' Sister Studio, and hooked up him and Philip Bailey for the song Easy Lover. So that's how serious the level I was getting to.
Okay.
Well, So this guy had hooked me up with this production team in New York. Within 2 weeks, they give me a call and they're like, Bryan, we don't know what happened, but RCA pulled out all their money on us. So we kind of got to recalibrate. And when we get back on our feet, we're still going ahead with our plan. I start going to church nonstop from then. I start taking the low road because at that point in my life, I'd never been so scared with anything.
Yeah.
It was so shocking to me. And the pressure of that kiss on my forehead, which I can still feel if I press on it today, that pressure stayed with me for a couple of years afterwards.
Oh, wow.
So I made the choice to go to church full time. I was just trying to get right with the Lord, and then that led to me singing in the choir. I'm not a great singer, but I know how to sing and I know how to write songs, and that was my talent. So I leave all that behind. I start singing in the choir. I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to do it for you. Well, out of that, I get approached from the church, Mount Zion out of Clarkston, Michigan. Hey, you want to start a drama group? You're not afraid to be up on stage singing. Would you want to start a drama group? So I start a drama group with them, start doing church productions and all of that. And then I realize I have a talent for comedy and acting. So we're doing productions, we're filling up the theater house, wonderful Christian productions. But then I get to a certain level where I'm like, okay, Lord, if I want to take this to the next level, I need to get taught by the professionals.
Right.
So at that time, Second City, you've heard of Second City from Chicago and LA. That's where a lot of the people from Saturday Night Live come from. So I said, you know what? I'm going to head down to Second City, Detroit, and get some professional training. So I get on stage there. I'm realizing I have a talent by the way people are approaching me, talking to me, and how the audience reacts to comedy and all that. And then I get approached by the artistic director and former writer of Saturday Night Live, Rich Guattari. And he says, hey, man, you've really got a talent. You just got to learn how the business works. And, you're going to be on the fast road to Hollywood. And to confirm that, after my first little kind of audition for main stage, Second City, I'm coming off the stage and I'm heading up the aisle, and out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody running over to me and they grab me by my arm. And they said, man, have you got a ton of talent? You are awesome. And said just what this Rich Guattari said. He said, you just got to learn how this business works here at Second City. And man, the sky's the limit for you. And he said to me, promise me that you won't quit acting. And I go, yeah, no problem. I love it. And I'm here. That person is Keegan-Michael Key of Key and Peele. And he's big time. Right after that, he left Second City, Detroit, went to Chicago, and then signed on with Mad TV first. And then, the sky's the limit for Keegan-Michael Key. Well, during that time, I'm going to church and I meet a lovely lady, and I adopt her 3-year-old boy, and we have a child of our own. But the problem is I'm never home. I'm either singing in the church choir or I'm down in Detroit at Second City doing every sort of production there is. So I'm an absent husband and an absent father. So that, of course, that, of course, leads to a divorce. And so then as I'm getting some counseling from that divorce, one of my minister friends says to me, Bryan, I understand all your talent. I've seen you on stage. I've seen your ability. He said, but your first ministry is your family. If you can't minister and be there to your own core family, your 2 boys and your wife, with all due respect, you're of no use to God. Because, we want to take our talents and say, oh, God wants me to do this and God wants me to do that. Yeah, but if we're not putting food on the table for our kids, then what good are we doing? Right?
Right. Absolutely.
So I quit acting for a good, 10, 15 years, a good duration, until about 5 to 7 years ago. And my kids are getting older. They're getting self-sufficient. Well, Rich Guattari from Second City gives me a call, the former Saturday Night Live writer. And he's like, hey, man, what have you been doing? I've got a new acting school. I want you to come down. like, man, just help me out, get this thing going. So I go down there, I get involved in that acting school again. But this time I'm balancing everything out. Now I'm working, got years in at Ford Motor Company. The Lord kind of saved my butt on that one to have a stable job. So I'm down at Rich Guattari's acting, I forget what School of Acting, Guattari Creative Arts. That's it. So I'm there and out of that, I meet the Hollywood casting director for Michigan, gal by the name of Janet Pound. So we become good friends, and I look to this day, I love Janet. She's been so wonderful. And so between Rich and Janet, they're really putting the polishing touches, the finishing touches on my acting career, so to speak. So during that time, I get the agent here in Detroit and all that. And then Hollywood, we had kind of a big boom there for a while, Hollywood coming to town. So whenever Hollywood come to town, I would get a call to be on the Hollywood set. If you see Batman versus Superman, more than likely I'm somewhere in that production. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. I'm setting up sound. I'm doing lighting. At one point, for instance, I'm standing on set with Zack Snyder, Holly Hunter, Jesse Eschenberg, and all four of us are talking about how to set up the next scene. And then later down the road, one of the last things I've done was No Sudden Move. I was a supporting actor in that. Even though my scenes got cut down, I got to hang out with John Hamm and David Harbour from Stranger Things for a couple of weeks in the holding house and just sit around talking.
Wow.
So while all that's going on, I'm still keeping my balance with my boys and everything. I'm single, and I start getting involved in the independent movie making here in Detroit. So I start learning. I'm just learning all facets of how to be in front of a camera. Transposing the stage comedy from Second City into movie making. And so I'm getting the calls and I'm doing whatever it is I need to do. But the one thing is I picked up an agent out of New York and LA, long story short, but I wasn't willing to give up my Ford job working for Ford Motor Company because of my kids. That's benefits. That's stability.
Right.
And because of the vision dream of the deal with the devil, I'm not giving up the Ford job and stability for a pipe dream and then cause chaos in my family. Someday I got to stand before the Lord and give an account.
Yep.
So I stay at that level, and I've been happy ever since. But we start doing some independent filmmaking, and then my father passes away. At the same time my father passes away, I'm making another paranormal type TV family show called Pizza Monster. We're kind of formulated it as a pilot show. So I start doing that, and then everybody knows the Cass River sighting here in Michigan of a Sasquatch supposedly carrying a baby crossing the Cass River. So at the same time, kind of around the same time, my dad passes away. There's the Cass River sighting, which is just down the street from me. This is in the thumb of Michigan. It's a half an hour down this Highway 46. So I go check that out. We're doing the paranormal TV show. And then I'm renovating my dad's house. I take over, my brother and sister say, hey, why don't you take over dad's house as a estate? And the house was pretty decrepit. So it'd been vacant for a couple of years. At this point, I move in there. And then I have a fairy encounter.
Oh,
Now,
my.
Right. So here's another instance where everybody at home, you've got to decide with what I'm about to tell you is true or not. Now, during that time, I had an encounter with a cloaked figure that also followed me from a couple of different homes, followed me and my boys, from one house to the next house. And I finally had to, in the name of Jesus, get out. When my kids saw it finally and drew a picture of it, this cloaked figure, I anointed the comings and goings, the windows, everything in the house, and in the name of Jesus. And fortunately, me and my boys have not seen that cloaked figure yet. So that happened among all that. So now I'm in my dad's house. I'm renovating it. This time, unlike the last time where I'm kind of in between awake and sleep and then I go into the vision,
Right.
this time I am fully awake, guys. Fully awake. I am as awake as I'm talking to you right now. I'm not tired at all, but I go in and I lay down on my bed and I'm thinking of all the stuff I've got to do to my dad's house, trying to figure out if I want to sell it, if I want to stay, whatever. So I'm laying there, I've got my eyes closed, and my mind is buzzing, thinking about all the things I have to do. And suddenly, I'm going to take a sip of coffee right now.
All right.
Suddenly, I hear a voice, a female voice, say, "I've heard about you."
Oh.
Hmm.
My eyes are shut. I'm fully awake. I'm like, okay, I think that came from the spot where the door is to the bedroom in the house. That was a female voice. I'm the only one in my dad's house. It's a small house. I'm the only one's here. Who the heck is that? I open my eyes to see, I'm totally awake, to see a fairy, what I would call a fairy, about the size of my hand, hovering over my face.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Now, it's already said, "I've heard about you," and it's a feminine voice. When I see this fairy, it's got wings and it's hovering. It has a female face,
Hmm.
and the color of it was kind of, so think of like an alien gray, but also a bug and a human mixed together. I did a post on my personal page, and Bryan Sawyer on Facebook, and the Bigfoots of Michigan, Bigfoots of America groups, private groups and public groups, about kind of what this fairy looked like. I'm going to see if I've got it on my phone for a second. But it's hovering over my face,
Right.
and it's doing this thing. So its face is most prominent, and it's a female. And out of my mouth, I wasn't planning on saying this, but out of my mouth comes, "I can see you, right?" And she goes from this to and flies across the room. Now, here's the crazy part. She zips across the room into, so I call it a junction box, but it's where you plug your DVD player into, the cable into, whatever else you have, VCR, and then that goes to the TV.
Right.
She flies right into it with a pop, pop, and spark. And I literally see sparks. I'm like, what the heck? So
Oh, my
she
goodness.
went, yeah, she went from being totally biological, me hearing her, me seeing her, looking at me like this, to realizing I can see her, and she goes, and just zips across and into, and I sit up in bed, and I am flat. Oh my gosh. So from there, from that moment on, that was when I realized, kind of like I had said to God before with the whole deal with the devil record deal. I said, "God, evidently I don't know as much as I think I know." And there are, because I think we limited it as Christians, we limit ourselves to like ghosts and angels. There's angels and there's demons. And ghosts are demons and angels are good. Well, from that, and the Lord speaking to me, I start digging in to the whole Bigfoot subject, paranormal subject, anything you can imagine, to get myself more familiar. And then I stumble upon, of course, just watching all the YouTube videos, I should say, you get directed there with the narrative from the book of Enoch, the fallen angels getting
Yeah.
it
Right.
on with earthly women. And then after, because it also says this in the book of Giants from the book of Enoch, that after they procreated with earthly women, I don't know if it was 200 different type creatures, but we know there were 200 angels, Shemiaza, Azazel, that all ascended down to Mount Hermon, made the blood pact to defect. They knew they were going to be doing something bad.
Right.
And then I don't know. Here's my question that I love to play with is, did the angels know they could procreate and just did all this? Or was it like, holy crap, we can procreate? And,
Right.
and they
Right.
started getting it on with everything. Oh my gosh, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do that. Right? So then they start spawning giants. They start spawning Bigfoots, because I do believe Bigfoot. As I spoke before we came on the show, if you look at the H.A. Miller document about the regenerative capabilities of some of these Sasquatch, that's Gary Wayne says that's from the lineage of the Rephaim. So that's a direct descendant, maybe a hybrid many generations down the line, but still a hybrid from these fallen angels. And so
Okay.
now, like you guys very well know on your own, there is this whole world that has exploded, this whole paranormal and craziness of cryptids and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you're at home, this is to my fellow Christians, if you're at home with your head in the sand saying, oh, none of this is true, so I'm telling you as a Christian, and I'm either lying to you before God or I'm telling you the truth. So you've got a decision to make. Then if you say you're a Christian, you're going to study up. And then you can go to Luke 21, where it basically says in the last days, you will see fearful sights and things coming down from the heaven, things descending from the heavens. Well, if you look up fearful sights in the original Greek, that's the word phobotron. That translated actually means monsters. And then descending out of the sky, the word apo and Uranus from the heavens means something descending out of the skies. So now, if we're being fair to ourselves, when Jesus said this, Jesus could have been saying, hey, in the last days, you're going to see monsters and UFOs. You're going to see the whole paranormal world open up. Because really, I do agree with Timothy Alberino in this aspect. I prefer to call it as the paranormal world, and truly the only supernatural beings are the non-created ones. They basically are God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. They are the only supernatural beings that are able to work outside the paradigm that we're kind of stuck in, held in here by gravity. We're basically in an ant farm. But the angels and all of this paranormal world are somewhere in between our ant farm and the eternalness of God the Son and the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. That's why we're doing this. And when with some of the people I'm talking to, they ask me, hey, do you think you can, get us maybe 2 seasons? And I'm like, I think I can. Oh my gosh, 2 seasons I have 5 seasons right now in the book. I can't keep up with it. I have to go at least once a week to keep up with all the eyewitnesses contacting me here in Michigan, the podcast show, and then hold down the job and all that kind of stuff. Stay a good father. So it is amazing. It's exploding. And I believe this to be the evidence of the last days. I believe we're in the last days. We're not there quite yet, but Jesus talked about there's going to be a little season just before the end, and we're in that season. The seas are going to be raging. There's going to be earthquakes. There's going to be volcanoes. There's going to be wars we're seeing in diverse places. So all of that's playing in to the final scene, which only God knows exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, we have some good friends that we're following that's into the little season, and we've been watching that, and we're right there, and we're going to be at the final battle real soon.
Well, they're actually calling it the last season now.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. We're 11:59, and we're in probably that last second. So
more people are waking up to that possibility. And at first I went, little season, what is that? I mean, I knew about it. I read about it in the Bible. But then looking into all of this, I'm going, oh my, we may be in that timeline. And more people are waking up to that thought.
Without a doubt. And like I said, I think before we came on the show, for me, it's been a progression. So, God has been faithful to spoon feed me so I would be able to understand. I think if I didn't have the ghost encounters, the cloak encounter, the deal with the devil encounter, I couldn't have handled the fairy encounter. Then I had the fairy encounter, and then I said, okay, God, I'm going to be very careful with the way I think and judging others when they tell me that they've seen Bigfoot. I never go into one of my eyewitnesses and say, well, this is what you actually saw, and this is what probably happened. No, if you want to tell me that you saw a Sasquatch and this Sasquatch spoke to you and said that he was from the third outer ring of Saturn, then I want to hear it. I want to know what has happened to you. And
Mhm.
then I want to paint a picture, picture of dots to where we connect the dots. And yeah, so Sasquatch, I think what I was going to say is it's not that they exist that blows your mind. It's that there's so many of them
Yeah.
that blows your mind.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I
Mhm.
mean, that's how me and Jane always say, we have an open mind and we may not have experienced what you've experienced, but we want to hear about it. And there might be something that we can take away from your story that makes sense and something that we have experienced or want to learn about.
Right, right. And then
Mhm.
that'll help other people to understand. I've got two boys, and here's a prime example. My oldest son thinks Bigfoot is a farce, and he
Hmm.
just says, "Hey, Dad, you're getting older, and you're getting close to retirement, and you're looking for something to do, and Bigfoot is what you're doing. So sorry to pop your balloon." I'm like, "No problem, son." But then my younger son, he's gone out there, and he's heard the return wood knocks with me out in the
Hmm.
forest.
Hmm.
So what I tell my older son is, son, you don't have to believe it. I just want it to be in the back of your mind that if UFOs start coming down and showing up in the sky, if a Bigfoot walks across your front lawn, you aren't wrecked by that encounter. You
Right.
aren't destroyed emotionally and mentally by something you thought didn't exist. No, you're somewhat prepared for it.
Absolutely. That that's just what we say. We don't just because I haven't experienced it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I don't want to take away or belittle anybody else's story of what they experienced. Because even if you go through the records and look at Bigfoot experiences or UFO experiences, not everybody's experience is the same. There might have some similarities, but they're all different.
Right.
Right, right. I mean, I didn't believe because too, so I've got all this under my belt, and then I go out to a Bigfoot location, and we do an episode, the first episode with Jim Ingram, our season one, episode one of the Bigfoots of Michigan TV pilot series. Um, we get out there, and this guy's telling me he's seen Bigfoot and been scared out of there, and we immediately find tracks, and I'm like,
Mm.
at that point, even still, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to make a TV show. Hopefully, I can get 2 years out of this. Hopefully, we can have fun with this. And I love people. So I'm like, for me, the people, the eyewitness are just as important as the Sasquatch. So, but immediately at this location, we are finding evidence. Then
Wow.
I'm going back out there without the guy. I'm going back out there at the time I appoint to see if I can find evidence. And I'm finding it.
Oh,
Then a couple more people from the same area tell me, hey, I just had the crap scared out of me and my brother did. We got something, and everything starts lining up. So then I finally get a hold of a guy by the name of Matthew Sexton, and he's like, "Hey, man, I've been watching your episodes. I just want to let you know you hit the nail on the head." I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, why is that?" He's like, "I've been out at where you're talking about for 10, 20 years now, and the Bigfoot know me, and I know them, and they're real." So
Wow.
he takes me out there, and he takes me to a private location. I immediately find more footprints, and all of this information is on our TV pilot series on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Bigfoots of America /Michigan, and you'll see these episodes. But this episode is called The River Walkers with Matthew Sexton. And we immediately find footprints. And so I work midnights at Ford Motor Company. I'm an auto worker, you know? So we set up camp, and Matthew is tired from work and he's used to the Bigfoot, so he passes out. Well, I'm hanging out, I'm in my tent, and I'd heard about this Sasquatch clan that the alpha male is pretty reserved, but he watches the two adolescent males, younger 20 something males, that are very aggressive. And it was rough in the beginning, like it was with my other eyewitness, Jim Ingram. And so I'm out there, and basically I spend the night in a tent, and my tent gets stroked. I hear the tree snaps, and then I hear a Bigfoot speak. I
Oh,
hear an audible something that I have never heard anywhere else on planet Earth.
oh my
And
gosh.
nobody can convince. And now people say, "Why don't you get out of your tent?" Well, that was my first and close encounter, and I was scared crapless. I didn't want to get out of my tent. I had heard about these two and how rambunctious they are, and I was feeling like them around me. Now, we had gifted them apples around our campsite. You know, Matthew has a certain way of doing things, so we do things, and I gift this clan now. And when I heard that alpha male speak, I had never heard anything of that tone or frequency or such a low note before. And I'll try to mimic it, but it's like that. So, but so much lower than you hear the diesel trucks off in the distance,
Oh,
lower than that, something I'd never heard before. So then I go, these things are definitely not human or all human. They have other kinds of properties that we don't even know about. So yeah, so that's been my journey. I've had one speak up that I've got that sneak up behind me, then turn around and walk back. That's in another episode. Got that on thermal video. And yeah, it's really about going out and interviewing the eyewitnesses also. Yeah, so it's been nonstop. It's been a joy, and it's about sounding the alarm and spreading the knowledge, man. So it's so
right.
cool.
I mean, that's why we like to have guests like you on, or anybody else that has experiences. We want to hear about them. We want to spread the word out. And like you said, not necessarily to uh, know exactly what happened, but just so people will learn and have their minds open a little bit and experience it so they don't freak out when they do have their own experience.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't believe in mind speak, and so after all this, so after I've kind of the Sasquatch are aware of me, so to speak. You know, I've heard people talk about, hey, once they're aware of you, they're going to follow you home. You know, Scott Carpenter talks about that.
Mhm.
Well, so what happens at my house? They sure start showing up at my house. Now, did I physically see one? No, I did not. But here's what happened. They were here 2 or 3 times. They came, first of all, when I wasn't here and my boy was here and my girlfriend was here, and they're banging on the camper. So my girlfriend went out and checked, and so she gets hold of me. She's like, "Hey, something weird's going on. I don't know what it is, but they're banging on the camper. Something's banging on the camper. Stop it." Now at this point, we're getting out and we're interviewing eyewitnesses. So my girlfriend's kind of getting involved too, and she's like, "Do you think it could be Sasquatch?" And I said, "Well, it might be." So I come home and I'm speaking out loud. So this is the interdimensional stuff that I don't even understand. I start speaking out loud. Hey guys, you can't beat on the camper anymore. It scares us. Don't don't beat on my house anymore because it's old and it'll fall apart. Don't jump on my roof. It's old. I just got new shingles up there.
And you'll fall through.
Exactly. We have some other crazy encounters. I got on one of my video cameras something underneath the camper, like
Oh,
a body like this underneath the camper, right?
Hmm.
Shortly after that, I got my windows open in my bedroom door. I hear a grunt. And I say, this is right at my window back behind my head. I say, I hear you. And then it commences to do what I would call, if you've ever heard a tiger growl, that real low,
Mhm.
that's what it did. I call it a purr. But it let me know that it was there. So those are
Hmm.
my physical encounters. And all this is happening all bunched together. Shortly after that, I've got to take my garbage behind my garage. I got a detached garage, so I got to hike it all the way from the back of the house back to the garbage cans in the dark, just outside of the porch light, if you know what I mean. So these are the interesting things. I've got literally got the garbage over, dope de dope de do, walking out to my cans. I'm not thinking about anything but taking the garbage out. And in my head, um, it's so hard to explain because it's an audible in my head, and I hear three things said. I hear, and it's broken English like if an old Indian said it. Thanks for friendship. Scout. And then it says forest people. Right then, because it was telepath, I spun around. Now, I physically spun around and I looked. Now, were they there? Were they cloaked? Were they just outside of my sight? Because now I'm frazzled. And sure, it could have been standing right there and I missed it. But I knew right then the thanks for friendship was all the gifting I had done, leaving them apples. I don't pray to these things. I don't bow down to these things, but I do respect them. So I'll leave apples. Hey, we're coming to your territory. I always say, OCO, hello, how are you? Coming in, I do my tree knocks. Well, this time they're at my place. And I hear, thanks for friendship. Thanks for friendship. Scout and forest people. I know right there, they're thanking me for gifting. I had asked them their name. They told me their name was Scout, or his name was Scout. And
Right.
then they chimed in with their own information. We'd rather be called forest people than Bigfoot. So even though they said, thanks for friendship, Scout, forest people, I heard, hey, thank you for friendship and leaving the gifting. My name is Scout and would like to be referred to as forest people rather than Bigfoot. And that's how my brain processed it, even though I heard, the three sections
Right.
of it. So then I've got to turn to God like I always do and go, God, I just had mind speak and I didn't believe in mind speak before this just happened. My mind was blank. I was taking out the garbage, we were having a good day. So then there's another point where you're like, okay, what is this whole paranormal thing about? We are not taught this in our US of A, Western civilized churches. We have not been given this information. And so you better be strong in your faith to be able to reconcile this kind of activity with your Christian faith. Now, we
Right.
all know all we need is Jesus. That's it. Jesus loved us, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, and Jesus died for us on the cross. That's all we need. We need to accept that, ask forgiveness for our sins, and it's all good. Accept that authoritative structure that God has set up. But now, as you mature, if you claim to be a Christian, you're going to desire to mature in Christ, to not be a spoiled baby Christian who just turns to God, Daddy God, for when you need something.
Right.
So like King Solomon, hey, I want to increase in knowledge. I ask for wisdom. So we need to turn to our Heavenly Father, ask for knowledge, ask for wisdom, and then he'll open up the doors according to what we can handle. And I know he has been faithful to spoon feed me along the way. So once I handled this, I could move on to the next amount of knowledge and the next amount of knowledge. And so that's where I am today. So yeah, I've heard him speak physically. I've had the physical encounters and I've had the telepathic mind speak. I've caught him up on thermal sneaking up behind me. But yeah, so it's been amazing. And for me, I like the L.A. Marzulli narrative in the sense of better safe than sorry. If these are the Therion, the beasts of the earth that are going to be part of the judgment coming down upon earth. So better be safe than sorry, dot your I's, cross your T's, be faithful to the Lord, keep your nose clean, as my dad says, but then inquire of the Lord. And then don't get stuck in one, like, well, they're this or they're that. Just be like, all right, Lord, protect me. Number one, I don't know if these things are all bad and they want to eat me. And then here in Michigan, I'm just really starting to dig into this, the whole dogman issue.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
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 So, gosh, I'll probably talk your ear off, but I mean, that's everything I've just said is the tip of the iceberg. Then you throw in all the different encounters and the eyewitnesses. I'm interviewing for the TV pilot series or the podcast show. And then you're getting the varying narratives. You're getting, okay, I saw a blonde Sasquatch. No, I've got, not far from me, I got an elder gray Sasquatch that walks through my backyard every evening to go down to Lake Huron. No, I saw a black Sasquatch. I saw a cinnamon colored Sasquatch. Well, no, the Sasquatch I saw was more of an auburn color and like a reddish maroon color. And then you start going, what is going on?
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
go
us
ahead.
living here in Central Illinois, just probably kind of like you. We have reports of werewolves back from the 1700s, 1800s. We have dogmen. We have Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or forest people, and then we have Mothman reports everywhere. So it's like this is just one area, one state. It's like, can you imagine the whole United States and what everybody's experiencing?
Oh, exactly. I mean, I was able to figure out my one little area here in the thumb of Michigan as to why. What is the key, at least, and I can only speak for everything I've been learning. The key is water. So there's a biological aspect to these entities, these creatures. They want to fish. They need to drink water.
Mhm.
They need to cool down. I live in what I like to call the Bigfoot Triangle here in Michigan, and it's basically two rivers that join up top and then go down like this, the Black River and the Cass River, and the base is this Highway 69, and they are everywhere in along the rivers and in between. And like I said before, the scary, interesting part is there's many more of these things than we ever imagined. Like
Yeah.
you said, like you said, they're not just out, in the Northwest, hanging out with Patty, the Patterson
Right.
Gimlin one. They're all over and they're very prevalent. And now, I guess because the human population is growing and technology is booming, we're able to have closer encounters.
Yeah, and if we truly are closer to the end times, I mean, just like you said, we're going to start seeing creatures and stuff in the sky. So it's like our show is called Piercing the Veil. Well, I don't even really think there's a veil anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't.
It broke.
Oh, exactly. I was
Mhm.
talking. Okay, Steven Spielberg. I just heard this recently, and I don't know where I heard it, but hear this out. So I told you guys I keep this. We've got the Loch Ness Monster. Let's go back in time. Let's talk about Hollywood for a second and all the different movies. Where'd you get the idea for the Wolfman?
Right.
Hollywood.
Right.
Where'd you get the
Right.
idea for the all this? Well, Steven Spielberg. Here's what I heard. He gets briefed by the CIA. All right. This is the
Hmm.
conspiracy stuff, which I think is real. So he makes Jaws, right? So now he's in Hollywood elite, right? He gets briefing from the CIA, gets briefed, and out of that briefing, he makes two movies. What do you think they are? Number one is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Earth shattering,
Mhm.
life changing movie for all of us. The
Mhm.
reality of aliens. So he makes that movie. What's the second movie he makes from that same briefing? E.T. The briefing from the CIA. Do you know what's different from the CIA? In E.T. where that finger that E.T. had and he could heal you?
Yeah.
No, in real life, that thing disintegrates you. It boils you and burns you and disintegrates you.
Oh,
Wow.
That's what I heard. So out of that, he makes the two movies. One little tweak. Well, I think that's a tweak we would need to know. He's not a little loving guy who's going to heal us. No, we get too close and he's going to burn us to death. So anyway,
Yep.
sorry, Jane. I didn't mean to speak over you.
Have you ever heard the story about Spielberg being in a golf cart and being supposedly with Men in Black?
No, but I went down and go ahead.
Oh, I was just references that I said I have to remember off the top of my head. But anyway, he's doing the movie, I think Close Encounters. And I think he's in a golf cart and he's going along, like leaving the set or whatever. Then all of a sudden he gets stopped and like a Men in Black. People are saying they weren't close to him, but they were saying it looked like somebody like a Men in Black hops in the cart with him and they take off.
Mm.
And are gone for quite a while before he comes back. So they don't know if somebody got a hold of him, was talking to him. Either he's getting too close or they need to change something during the movie or.
It's called, I'm not some big Hollywood star, but I made a little name for myself here in Michigan. Let me tell you something. They were giving him what we call notes. They were saying, "Hey, tweak this, tweak that. It wasn't this, it was this. No, you got that right on, but do this and that." It's steering him a little bit. No, you're revealing too much information. Don't go there. Yeah, it's called giving notes, man, in my opinion. And it's funny. I was just down in Appalachian Mountains, foothills down there, West Virginia, southeastern Ohio. I had heard through the grapevine too. Have you ever heard of the Serpent Mound?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So I had been there not too long ago. We're thinking about doing an episode down there. My girlfriend and I are down there getting some footage, talking about it. Trying to learn about it. Is a burial mound? Well, it's no, maybe it's more of an effigy mound. So somebody, man, it bugs me. It might have been a YouTube video. Well, I had heard that not only is all that still intact, the serpent eating the egg. Now, do you guys know, is that the spring equinox? The shadow is supposed to eat that egg, so to speak.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. All right. So I think I got that right. So I'm talking in the video. I had heard through the grapevine there was an ancient Egyptian style obelisk that used to be set up there.
Yeah.
And when the colonial people come in and they read this or interpret it or find out its meaning, they tear it down. Just like the Jews were told to tear down every high place of pagan gods, they tear this obelisk down and push it over the cliff, the overlook, right?
Yeah. It's still there, right?
It's still there. So I go check it out yesterday. It's still there.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. So I did a little video on it, and you can't see any writing. It's covered with moss. And then if it's only writing on one side and that face is down in the ground, then you're going to have to dig that thing up. But, what was that all about? Because if this truly is an effigy that is meant to worship the serpent god, who has many different names and known throughout the different tribes, it's like, what was this? To me, that's, part of the 200, the Mount Hermon angels that came down. This is where the pyramids come from. Pyramids were made to, kind of have a place for the gods to come down and meet mankind. They're temples of worship for these fallen gods, these 200 watcher class angels. So, yeah, I think that's what that serpent god is. And that goes back to, just ancient times. It's so much information.
I think I have a picture somewhere. I need to find it. And I don't know if it's on this computer or a different computer, but somebody else checked out the obelisk down in the valley or the gully. And it looks like a halfway decent picture of it. I don't think it had moss.
But really? Didn't have moss on it?
Supposedly where the obelisk was, though, it lines up with the stars and the where the sightings are. So where you have the curvature of the snakes, depending on where that obelisk, where you're looking, it'll go right through the middle of when these events happen.
Wow, because I thought it was interesting because I point out in the video, so you've got the serpent's mouth like this, and then you've got the egg like this, right? Mm-hmm. Well, this side of the egg, there's a mound there, but there's nothing on it. There's this like little mound. And I'm like, man, the obelisk could have been standing right there. Because then they broke it down and just went a couple of feet and threw it over the cliff. So I can't confirm that. And I wonder if anybody knows.
Right.
All kinds of Egyptian things in America.
Oh, yeah. And I kind of agree with guys like, Derek Gilbert, Stephen Quayle, Tom Horn, that when the Israelites came into the promised land and they chased out a lot of these giants, many of them retreated. First they retreated to, I think it's the island of Sardinia, and then after that retreated to North America. So you throw in the Grand Canyon, all of that going on, and I think there's other even Egyptian or ancient Roman findings in Ohio somewhere. You guys might know about that.
Yeah, we did a show on it a little bit about the mound there in Ohio, and they found artifacts that had ancient Hebrew written on it.
Whoa! See?
Yeah. Old maps to show that Egypt was here. The Mississippi was actually the Niles.
Wow. And then
even Israel was over here. Israel was pretty much Washington, Oregon, that area over there, if these old maps are correct.
And then here in Michigan, we have all the copper mines in the Upper Peninsula. They were taking their ships all the way from Europe and the Middle East, coming over here and getting all that copper. That could have been King Solomon for all
now, whether they originated here, who knows? But it's definitely been told by the Hopi people for the Grand Canyon that Joseph, out of the Bible, his sons and daughters came over here on ships and was in the Grand Canyon area. So the Hopis tell that in oral history.
Gopher wood is only found in Florida.
Are you kidding me?
That's
what they're saying. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah. Then there's certain gold in Georgia.
Oh my goodness.
Talk about the cocaine, girl.
Yeah, the cocaine mummies. Have you heard that?
No, I have not.
So these archaeologists and these scientists took DNA samples out of these old Egyptian mummies that are over from the Kings Valley, and they're finding traces of cocaine and nicotine. So at the time of these mummies were encased in the wraps and sarcophaguses, the only place you could get cocaine was South America, and the only place you can get tobacco for nicotine was in the lower parts of the Native Americans in the U.S. So they had to come over here, or they had a trade route back and forth. But I think they came over and took that stuff home to Egypt.
And the U.S. only had corn.
Oh, gosh. See that?
Yeah.
We have not been taught over here.
No,
And I don't want to
we've
be
been
too
lied
hard.
to.
Yeah. We haven't, what you said, lied to, because we haven't been told the full truth.
Right.
You know, we've been told to go to work 9 to 5, take care of your family, find the TV show that you want, but don't get out there and meddle too much. Don't.
Nothing to see, people. Nothing to see.
Right. Nothing to
Well,
see here.
recently I also heard that they found THC on the altars. So were the Israelites, were they using that during their ceremonies?
Oh my goodness. Then that would explain.
Like
Yeah,
incense. It
yeah,
was, they were saying it was hash. It was that THC hash that were they using that as like, I don't know, just smoke
well, I
or
wouldn't
were they
doubt it
smoking
because
it? Don't know.
I wouldn't doubt it because if you've got 200 Watcher class angels that come down and start teaching humankind about hidden knowledge, medicines, warfare, you're teaching them about cocaine so they can hallucinate, so they can connect with their fallen gods better. Why not? That
Right.
would be it. Where God, I think God the Father just wants us to be simple. Yeah, he might just want us to be farmers. He might just want us to be raising our families, living in a little town like the hobbits do,
Yeah.
but yet these watchers came down and taught us all this forbidden knowledge that we weren't supposed to learn. And now, gee, we've got wars and all the
Yep.
deals made behind the curtain. I mean, Eisenhower meeting with the gray aliens for technology in order to do tests on human beings. It's ridiculous.
And that was about the exact same time that Israel became a nation again. Similar.
Right.
And if you think about it, it's been about 80 years. I mean, is there an 80-year connection? It's been about 80 years since World War II and now. And 80 years ago, we met with the Greys, reptilians, whatever was going on back then, Roswell, and then boom, all of a sudden World War II's done. Now Israel became a nation and everything changed.
And that makes sense because they don't know the complete will of God, but they do know the road signs, because that says that in the Bible, that Israel will return to becoming a nation. So when that happened, the dark side, so to speak, the fallen ones realized that their time is short and that they better get things moving along.
Right. Absolutely. And how long is the contract for? Was it for eternity, or is it for only a certain amount of time till the final battle starts? Is that when the contract's up? Is that why we're saying we may have an alien invasion coming? And
there's been a lot of weird things about the year 2025 that things are going to be revealed. And you're going, oh, is there a period of this 80-year period? Don't know.
Yeah. This is a book.
Getting interesting here.
I got to get into this book more too, Earth's earliest ages, so
Ooh.
maybe.
Oh, that's interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is George H. Pember, and this is basically kind of deals with the gap theory a little bit, that maybe the angels ruled Earth prior to mankind, and they basically screwed up and destroyed the Earth, or God destroyed it and said, I'm done with you. I'm going to make mankind in my own image. And so then the angels basically got knocked down a peg. They got a little brother, little sister, kind of got replaced. The jealousy starts spawning. And then, so this talks about that period of time that, there's different ages. We are in the age, there was an age from Adam and Eve to Noah. And then there's an age maybe from, say, Noah to the Tower of Babel. And now maybe we're in the third age of man, so to speak. But there may have been an age on earth where the angels ruled and they screwed it up. And
Hmm.
so God moved the inheritance of the angels onto mankind. And that's spawns more jealousy, you know? So, anyways.
Mm.
Mel says, look into the book of the
Yes.
Hopi.
Yes. I just watched a podcast last night was talking about the Hopi prophecies. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, send that link to
Mhm.
me because I'd like to learn more about that and how
Book
those
of the
different
Hopi.
narratives and storylines kind of line up.
I
Wow.
know we're getting close to the hour and we're short on time this session. We'll definitely have you back. But
Oh, yeah.
Robin wants to know if you can tell us a little bit about Half Blood 2020 series.
Oh, that is a show. Yeah, I was filming that. Oh man, that was one of the good ones. I was playing Erebus. Now they had an idea for a TV show, and they want it to be kind of like vampires and all that kind of stuff. Where I brought in the narrative of my character Erebus is that he was a fallen angel
Hmm.
and
Ah,
he
Hmm.
was the head of this particular region. Like, so I kind of made it after the or my input of the TV show was going to be kind of modeled after the fallen angels, where you know how God divided up the earth at the Tower of Babel. You know, there was 70 some angels at that point who ended up falling as well, and he divided the land up between them, and God said, but Israel is my portion, right? So Erebus, the Half-Blood 2020, I was the character Erebus, and I was over all these other vampires. Well, we got into how many, 2 or 3 episodes, and then COVID came along and tanked it. So, but
man.
Ah.
that's yeah, that's I love that. That was oh my gosh, the sets for that. We were filming in like this big think of Walmart that was turned into a huge haunted house with different
Ah.
sets all over it. It was like this whole other really kind of dark world in there. And yeah, so that was, you know, a lot of the sets were in there and that would have been a lot of fun. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to be a fallen angel. And I was going to connect it. Well, then one of the season one killers was going to be that I reveal myself as Shemiaza or Azazel. Like, you know me as Erebus, but my real name is, yeah. And then
Yeah.
that way I could connect it to the Bible and talk about that character and point people to the Bible and that biblical narrative of the book of Enoch and all that. So that was a lot of fun. Too bad it got canceled.
Oh man. Maybe you can bring it back sometime.
Wow.
That would be great, man. We'll see. Michigan, unfortunately, has died. They had a tax incentive for movie making here, and that's what Hollywood looks for. If they're coming to your state, say they're going to spend. I'm just saying this. Say they're going to spend $100 million to make a movie. Well, the state will reimburse them. At that time, I think it was almost 50% here in Michigan. So
Wow.
Hollywood would get 50 million back if they do that. So Hollywood came in and kind of flooded Michigan at that time, but all those incentive programs have since gone away. So
Oh, wow.
it's all good.
That's too
God's
bad.
got a plan. Yeah, yeah, it's all good. I'm happy doing the Bigfoot show, taking care of my family. Am I happy working at Ford Motor Company? Hey, it pays the bills and puts food on the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah. It's a job.
Absolutely. I worked 27 years in the automotive industry at Mitsubishi Motors here in Illinois.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
Congrats. You know, we're not rich, but you know, thank God for the stableness of it all. Put it that way.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I've got a question. I know you're mainly into Bigfoot, but you brought in Dogman. Are you going to start looking around Michigan and investigate Dogman? I know northern Michigan, that's Dogman country up there.
Without a doubt, Wexford County, the Huron Manistee Forest, that is the first, I think 1897 was the first documented dogman sighting. Let me hold
Oh,
on.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, here in Michigan and maybe the US.
Hmm.
Hold on a second. Dogman 128. I just want to make sure. One thing I don't do is lie because I don't feel I have to.
Hmm.
Um, Two, if you're an eyewitness and I'm interviewing you and you're lying to me, that's on you. That's not on me.
Right.
But yeah, Wexford County, 128. I'm almost there, guys. Michigan Dogman. 1887, Wexford County was the earliest known dogman sighting, and that's the Huron-Manistee Forest. So yes, we are getting into dogman. In fact, we're going to do a group hike. You know, there's a lot of people. The show's becoming more and more popular, so a lot of people want to get together, and we're just going to do a day hike to kind of get the lay of the land. And then later, what I like to do is come back on a date when nobody knows and do an overnight investigation, looking
Mhm.
for footprints, looking for signs, anything like that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Wow.
One other thing I wanted to ask you before we go is you talked about the you can still feel the pressure where you got the kiss on the forehead.
Yes,
Have
sir.
you ever tried to look at it through like a heat camera or IR or blue light to see if anything shows up in that area?
Oh, wow.
Well, I never thought
Wow.
of that. And this is my Burris BTH50 thermal imager camera and video camera. We're going to do that.
Wow. Let us
You know how
know.
you see in the movies
Yeah.
where if the devil kisses you or some entity, even like Frighteners, the movie where you can see the fire marks from they left a sign on their victims.
Oh my
See, I
God.
haven't seen that and I didn't know about that, but we're going to try it now. We're going to
Wow.
try
Yeah.
that now.
So maybe there's a mark there.
You're going to have to let us
Yeah.
know, Brian.
Yeah, that's going on, what, 25, 30 years ago now. So that would be something. Because when I put my finger there, I know it's right there. Right there.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird. And that's about the same place in Frighteners where they put their mark in the movie.
No way.
Yeah, you got to watch Frighteners
All right,
with Michael
I
J.
gotta watch
Fox.
it. Okay. That must be an old one. That in the 80s or 90s, man.
80s,
Michael
yeah.
J. Fox. Okay, cool. I'm gonna check it out. Wow.
right.
Wow.
Good
We're
stuff.
going to have to bring you back ASAP now.
Anytime, guys. I got to go to work, so it's kind of on me this time. My apologies, but yeah, I got to hop in the car in about 15 minutes and drive off to work. But I want to thank both of you. Thank you so much for hunting me down and having me on, because I love talking about this stuff and I love spreading the word. So and making new
We do
friends.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. We love
Yeah.
having you. We'll definitely have you back. So we'll get a hold of you and figure out a time that works for both of us that maybe you can stay on longer.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. You got it. I mean, yeah, some of my eyewitnesses, just to kind of give a teaser for next time, pterodactyl sightings. One
Oh,
guy
Oh.
one guy saw what he described as a thunderbird, an ancient thunderbird. And he said he's never
Mm.
seen anything so big and prehistoric looking in his whole life. So there
Oh,
are the
wow.
hopping man, little people. Yeah, it's this world is going crazy around
Yeah.
us.
It is.
yeah. I grew up here in Central Illinois in the 70s when they actually talked about the Thunderbird picking up the kid in Southern Illinois and lifting him off the
Whoa.
ground. And that made the newspapers and on AM radio. I remember hearing it on the radio.
All right, man. Let's talk about it next time. Sweet.
All right.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Well, if you still got a couple minutes, don't go anywhere. We'll just say goodbye to everybody in chat, and we'll talk to you behind the scenes for a couple minutes.
Sounds good. Yeah. I got about 10 more minutes.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
everybody, thank you for being here. We love you. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know we have. Brian is such a great guest, and we just love talking to him, and we'll definitely having him back. So please catch us next week, and we'll have another guest on. And don't forget, we have Wednesday night, the Night Owl Lounge, where we hang out with everybody in chat and show old maps, maybe some Bible stuff and some cryptid histories. So tune in 10 p.m. Central Wednesday night for the Night Owl Lounge. Love you guys.
Peace.
Keep looking up.
Keep your vibrations high.